Hello, everybody. Get ready as we prepare for this upcoming Sunday. It's the 23rd Sunday, and it's the first Sunday in September, Labor Day weekend, which supposedly officially concludes summer season, right? Not if you're living in Florida. It doesn't seem to be the end of summer, but up north, it used to be the end of summer and beginning of school the day after Labor Day, but even now they begin a little earlier as well in August. But now let's turn our attention to the upcoming gospel of this Sunday, the 23rd Sunday, Luke 14, beginning at verse 25. Great crowds were traveling with Jesus, and he turned and addressed them. If anyone comes to me without hating his father, mother, wife, children, brothers, sisters, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Which of you, wishing to construct a tower, does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if there's enough for its completion? Otherwise, after laying the foundation and finding himself unable to finish the work, onlookers should laugh at him and say, "This one began to build but did not have the resources to finish." Or what king, marching into battle, would not first sit down to decide whether 10,000 troops he can successfully oppose another king advancing upon him with 20,000 troops? But if not, while he's still far away, he will send a delegation to ask for peace terms. In the same way, any one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple. Some strong words by Jesus. Begin with the first verse here. Great crowds were traveling with Jesus. So it sounds like he's at his height of his popularity. The crowds were following him. On a human level, that's sort of a boost to our ego. Jesus being God and man probably didn't affect him the same way, but we would be. Look at I'm succeeding, I'm popular, and I think we all fall into that trap of being taken up by it. And so now he's reaching people, and what does he do? He turns around and tells them these rather disturbing, challenging words. If anyone comes to me without hating his father, mother, wife, children, brothers, sisters, even his own life, cannot be my disciple. What would you do if you heard those words? This is a turnoff on the crowds. He could, don't say that, Jesus. You're going to lose them. They're going to walk away. They're going to turn away from you. And sometimes some people criticize some of these, perhaps TV preachers or famous ones, and they just speak of success, prosperity, never speaking the reality of failure and disappointment and sacrifice. Because they do, well, they may lose people. So what does it mean here, though? Without hating his father and mother, wife, children. Whoa. It's just before he told us, love your neighbor, love God and love your enemies. Love your neighbor, love your enemies. Now, if it was to love our enemies but hate our own family, our mother and father, didn't it say the commandments, honor your father and mother? So what the heck does this mean? We look at it at two levels. One, hate is the word hate, misio, in Greek, it's what we say in English, to hate. Whoa. But Jesus often spoke about in hyperbole, exaggeration, to grab someone's attention, say, wow, did he say what I thought he said? Did he say hate? Because Jesus did that before too, with talking about if your eyes lead you to sin, pluck it out. If your hand is, cut it off. No, certainly he didn't mean to go around plucking your eyes out or cut your hand off. But it was that strong exaggeration to say, whoa, how important not to mess around. This is serious business. So in some ways, when he says here, to hate your mother and father is an exaggeration, and it definitely gets their attention. Because they would say, whoa, did he say what I thought he said? And their part is this. When I read a different scholar on that, he says in the Greek, or the Arabic, I guess, they didn't have a word, they have love, and they didn't have another word to speak about less. So hate wouldn't mean as we would see hate. It would really mean to love less. Love not as, not to like as, as we would love God. We don't love our parents the way we should love God. But it's all about the hate and the exaggeration. But also it speaks about God, in a sense, because the commandment says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, right? To love our neighbor. And therefore, when he says this, before your father, before your mother, for your wife, children, brothers, and sisters, you must love me. Indirectly, he's claiming that he's divine, that he's God, that he's reserving himself a love that's reserved only to God. We should only love God that way. He says, guess what? That's how you need to love me. So in a way, he's making that claim without making that claim boldly, outrightly. And that's where it is. And whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Now, we take that differently today. We sort of water it down. We think any sort of problem I have, any sort of sickness, struggle, ailment, we say, well, that's my cross. Yes, at some level that would be, but everyone has crosses, not just Christians, not just followers of Christ. Why, even atheists have those same situations, and they will not see it as, I'm carrying my cross. So to apply that only to that situation, it's not really what this passage is saying. But it's good to see that we go through difficult times, to make that our sacrifice, to be in union with Christ, and that's part of my prayer. So I'm not going to complain, not going to become bitter, but I just do carry it in good humor, in good spirit. That's my sacrifice, dying to myself. But what he's saying here, he means exactly that. When they heard him say this, whoever does not carry his cross, they know he's talking about actually what happened to him, what happened to many of his apostles, being put to death, being executed on the cross. All right? And so, wow, you must be willing to die for Christ. You must be willing to give your life for Jesus. That's what it means to be a disciple. And disciple means student. So to be a student of Jesus, this is what it takes. It's a lot, isn't it? So as he says after this, well, in that case, the parable of someone's going to build a tower, he better sit down and calculate what it's going to cost, because you don't want to start building and then run out of funds and it just stands there half built and being a laughing stock. Now, I don't know if it's completed yet, but there was some sort of TV studio, might have been a religious station or something being built on I-4. I know for years they had the outside structure and nothing seemed to be happening. We call it the eyesore on I-4. I haven't been down that road lately, so I don't know if they finally completed it yet. But when you drove by, there it was, just a frame, and they actually put the outside windows on, I think, but nothing inside, and maybe a truck outside. And that was always remind me of this passage, that somehow they didn't have the funds, maybe the hope, kept their fingers crossed, whatever it may be. But if you're going to take on a big project, you better make sure that you can fulfill it. Same with going to fight in war. You better know if you can handle the onslaught of the oncoming army, or you're going to get killed. So if you can't, you better go make peace before disaster strikes. Know what the cost is. And Jesus is saying that. Know the cost in following him. That nothing comes before Jesus. Not your mother, not your father, not your wife, not even your children. And no possessions. Because the same way it says, anyone who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple. So there's nothing that comes between you and God. Now I could speak into different families, different parents of children, and you ask what they want for their children, what they hope for. It's like everybody else wants in this world: a good education, a good job, success, and rarely, sometimes, is faith ever number one. Faith it's nice, but it's not seen as the essential. But Jesus says this is what it must be. Jesus is first and always first. And so we like, to love our family, but not before God. Not before God. So I know priests in my Salesian order who were missionaries who leave their home country knowing that they would never go back. Never go back to see their own family. For the rest of their lives, they leave, they say goodbye, and that was it. That's a tremendous sacrifice on the missionary's part, and also the family, especially mom or dad, the child they raised, and they're called by God, and they move on. We hear of people, martyrs, giving up their faith, going to dangerous countries, dangerous areas, knowing that's a great risk, but they're willing to take the risk for the sake of the gospel, the sake of Christ. And we cannot shy away from it. We cannot run away from it. We got to put ourselves where Christ wants us. So we pray for that grace, that Jesus be first, only one, above all things in our life. God bless you.